I'm back! Whoa! Holy cow. I have been incredibly busy with school and being an actual cross-country coach. If you're brand new to the channel, that's where the coach in my name comes from. I went to a UT football game with my dad, and we got incredible seats last minute. And don't worry, we social distance ourselves from other people. I'm also preparing for a 5K. Like, actually preparing for it, not just saying I'm gonna run one, but actually preparing. And then I'm looking at a half marathon in February. That one's a little more iffy, but you know what? I would love to think that you're here just for an update on my life. And if you are, that is literally the sweetest thing ever. I love you too. But we know what you're really here for. A children's video game. My favorite thing. No joke. And it seems like there's been a steady decline in these challenge videos, and that kind of makes me sad, because these are what grew my audience by very wide margins. But people still like them. It's so cool to see a Pokemon that's underused get some love, or use a team that you realistically would never use. And that helped me arrive at the next theme for a team run. And this theme can be applied to every single generation, and I'm really excited to debut the first part of it. As a kid, I would always play through Yellow and only pick up the Pokemon that Ash used. Because as a kid, you think Ash is a Pokemon master. But then you grow up. Yeah, you learn. And that's where our challenge video starts today. I thought it would be really cool to create the Ash Ketchum challenge and see how easy, or difficult in true Ash Ketchum fashion, this type of run would be, using Pokemon that Ash used in the anime as the basis for my team. First, I had to decide the team. My first thought jumped straight to the first 6 Pokemon he ever used: Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander, Butterfree, and Pidgeotto. Oh, and Pikachu, duh. He caught some others that were definitely important, like Primeape, Muck, Krabby, Tauros. Only one of them was important though, not all 30, but you get the idea. But I just didn't think anything outside of those initial 6 really hit hard, so I went with those 6. I also decided to let Pidgeotto and Charmander hit their final evolutions, because Ash did have those Pokemon, even if Pidgeot was only for a few minutes before being released. So let's get into the rules. I will only be using the 6 Pokemon mentioned prior. Per the norm, I won't be using any items in battle either. You've heard this one plenty of times. And only Charmander, Pidgeotto, and Caterpie will be evolving. Pikachu, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur will stay in their base form. I started the game out in a plain old regular ROM file for once. No randomizer needed this time. Plain old regular Pikachu, no fancy nicknames. I lost this battle way too many times as a kid, so I didn't want to take any chances and made sure to growl as much as possible. But I paralyzed Eevee and didn't even take any damage. I contemplated going straight for Brock, but knew that that was a lost cause. I set out for the first 2 additions to my team, Caterpie, and just to keep in line with the show, I didn't get a Pidgey. I actually did multiple encounters so I could go straight to Pidgeotto. After reaching level 10 and becoming Butterfree, I set off for Brock, and confusion absolutely wrecked his face. As a kid, this was the only way I knew how to beat Brock. I never knew you could get Mankey and Yellow on one of the earlier routes, and sure didn't know about type advantages outside of basic ones. Easy win. I contemplated this, but I decided to not show off the Jesse and James battles. I know that totally defeats the point of the Ash Ketchum challenge, but they're hardly a challenge in a solo run, let alone a team run. Misty was a tough cookie. I went into her battle without leveling up though, so my terrible underleveledness was definitely the cause for that. I paralyzed Staryu and shocked it to death with Pikachu, but Starmie is just too strong. Honestly, I wouldn't mind doing a Misty challenge along the line so I could use a Starmie. I did hit with a few sand attacks, and yes, that's very cheap, but also, I don't care. By the time Butterfree came out, I had basically blinded it, used Poison Powder, and started using Confusion, then confused it. I was just slowly whittling away at it, and I know I made it sound like I didn't win from the beginning of this talk, but I actually did. Way underleveled. I was pretty proud of this one, even with spamming Sand Attack. The rival battle on Nugget Bridge was a one and done, but it was a long battle. Spearow clearly stood no chance against Pikachu, but Pikachu's stats are just bad. And then Sandshrew started throwing sand, #SandSquad, so I opted for Pidgeotto, and he kept throwing sand. But Pidgeotto held on till its literal last breath and took down Sandshrew, only for Rattata to finish it off. Thank goodness for Butterfree and Confusion though, because this could have been a lot closer without both of those. And Poison Powder on Eevee was a just-in-case thing. Not a tough battle, but definitely could have been annoying if I hadn't been more cautious. I picked up Bulbasaur and Charmander for the team and boarded the boat. Spearow was a one-shot, and I really wanted Bulbasaur and Charmander to get some levels here, but Bulbasaur just couldn't cut it. Charmander had to come in and take down Rattata, but having Dig made it hit much harder than Ember or Scratch allowed it to. But Sandshrew came in and KO'd Charmander. Almighty Butterfree was the one that came in and confused Sandshrew to death, and Eevee fell victim to the old Poison Powder, and Pidgeotto swapped in to get some levels, and luckily was not afflicted by Sand Attack. Lieutenant Surge, even with one Pokemon on his team, was a scary battle. I started out Leech Seeding with Bulbasaur, landed the attack, then promptly fainted. Only 17 levels lower though, no big deal. I sent in Charmander because of Dig, and the constant Leech Seeding and strong base power Dig took down Raichu. Honestly, kinda shocked by that one. I picked up Squirtle and got the final member of my team, and with Erica being the next gym leader to face, Squirtle promptly died in the first battle, and I was horribly underleveled. I burned Tangela with Ember, but Ember just barely damaged it. I took much more damage from Tangela than I should have. Weepinbell then came out and hit like a truck, and I couldn't hit hard with Ember. I was hoping that Pidgeotto could finish the job, but Gust is a normal type attack in Gen 1, so Pidgeotto had no stab moves. And Acid is monstrous. I paralyzed it with Pikachu and thought Confusion could power through, but it just didn't happen. I went and moved through the game corner in the meantime, cause the battle with Erica just wasn't gonna happen. Giovanni was the perfect battle to let Bulbasaur get some action in. Onix and Rhyhorn were no match for this little frog dinosaur. Persian came along and finished it off, and Charmeleon did its best but couldn't take it all the way down. Pidgeotto got a lick in, but yeah, it died too. Pikachu was the main guy that came in and slowly took down the cat. I'm allergic to cats too, so I really appreciated Pikachu doing this job. Except Squirtle had to actually come in and finish it. Either way, the cat is dead. Hallelujah. I still wasn't ready for Erica, so I took on Gary in the Pokemon Tower. Fearow was actually a heavy hitter and took down Pikachu, but I did teach Squirtle Ice Beam, and that helped take down the bird big time. Charmeleon dug a big ol' hole in the ground and got Magnemite in 2 hits, and Bulbasaur was the guy to take down Shellder and Sandshrew. I was really glad to get him in some more battles. Having 3 Stage 1 Pokemon is really going to be tough later on. I used Body Slam to try and paralyze Eevee, but it kept using non-attacking moves and just prolonged its death. Attaboy, Bulbasaur. I took a crack back at Erica. Pidgeotto was who I started out using against Tangela. It was an incredibly long battle. I took some damage, but Tangela went down, and then Weepinbell shut down the bird. Charmeleon hit Weepinbell with a burn, so Acid didn't hurt nearly as much, but it still hurt for sure, but I got it taken down. I hit Gloom with 1 Ember, but fell victim to the ugly plant. The good news is that Butterfree now had Psychic, so even though it wasn't stab damage, it's still Gen 1 Psychic. Ugly plant, dead. I honestly didn't expect this to be one of the hardest battles in the game. Jumping right ahead to the rival battle in Sylph, I led with Squirtle to take on Sandslash, and Crit Slash took it down. So Bulbasaur came on in, and now I had Razor Leaf, which has a very high crit chance. And Sandslash would only use Poison Sting against me because I was technically weak to it, but not actually weak. Gotta love Gen 1 AI. Seriously though, I'm a legit Gen 1er, like an actual one, not the stereotypical one. I am just so nostalgic for Kanto. Anyways, Pikachu was the monster to obliterate Cloyster, and that was awesome. Pikachu just wasn't the guy for Magneton though, so Charmeleon came in to dig tunnels and knock it out. Except Supersonic was the downfall of Charmeleon. Butterfree wasn't even able to take it out. Pidgeotto got the final blow, and Kadabra's poor defense led to a one-shot fly. Flareon somehow got a one-shot Ember on Pidgeotto, so it came down to starter versus starter. I paralyzed it, got hit with Sand Attack, threw some lightning, but then fainted. Honestly, made me really sad. I did essentially the exact same thing next attempt, except I led with Bulbasaur instead of Squirtle. There were a few change-ups like Cloyster stopping Pikachu and Butterfree, but Charmeleon of all things took it down. Charmeleon then proceeded to knock out everything else. No joke, Charmeleon took out the rest of his team. I was pretty surprised by this. Giovanni should have been an easy battle, but Nidoqueen got the better of me. I'm not sure how else to explain it, I just came up short. Second battle though, Nidorino got knocked out by Dig, Slash was the go-to move on Persian, who did knock out Charmeleon but was left with very low health. Pidgeotto knocked it out, and Bulbasaur took down Rhyhorn. This time I was much more prepared for Nidoqueen. Honestly, just because I was mentally prepared for it. Butterfree's Psychic did a good bit of damage, and Squirtle was able to finish off the Queen. I was downright shocked that Sabrina's battle only took one attempt. Everything was much faster than me and hit harder too. I had to swap from Charmeleon on Abra because Flash was making me blind. Pidgeotto took it down after missing a few flies. I swapped to Pikachu to reset the accuracy drops, and Pikachu paralyzed Kadabra. Pidgeotto came back in and took some damage, just enough to knock it out actually, and Charmeleon was the one that actually finished the middle stage off. Except no, I guess, Charmeleon died too. Wow. I didn't feel great about the rest of this battle, but Bulbasaur actually came in to take it down. Then promptly died to Alakazam. Pikachu paralyzed Alakazam, and then I tail whipped a whole bunch to drop the already low defense stat. It died, but set the stage for Alakazam's downfall. Squirtle did some damage, and Butterfree confused and finished off Alakazam. It actually knocked itself out in confusion, and that was amazing. Koga's gym was the Butterfree and Charmeleon show. Nothing much to show here. Ember and Psychic took down the bugs. They aren't even poison bugs. Get smarter, Koga. Blaine put up much more of a fight than I was expecting. I didn't like it, but I had to do some grinding to take down the bald man. Squirtle, even at level 36, could only do so much damage to Ninetales, and in the end, it only left it with just enough HP to survive. Pidgeot, newly evolved, came in and finished it off. I used Sand Attack a good few times on Rapidash because I didn't feel bad about it at this level disadvantage, and took out Rapidash. I did the same thing to Arcanine, and really thought I had it. I took it to yellow health, and started shifting through the ranks to take down the dog. And everything slowly died. Literally, everything. The only survivor was Butterfree, surprisingly. I put it to sleep, had 5 health left, and then psychicked it down. Giovanni's last stand was shocking. Literally. If his royalty didn't have Thunder, this would have been a ridiculously easy battle. It seemed like they hit Thunder every single time too, and it didn't help that 2/3 of my team was weak to Electric. I seriously thought there might have been some sort of Gen 1 glitch causing it to hit every time. But eventually it did miss. Seriously though, 70% accuracy? It's a good thing I'm not a betting man, because I would have lost a good chunk of money for how many times it hit. But Gen 1 shenanigans did come to help me get the win. But before we get to that, Pidgeotto was my go-to guy to start against Dugtrio. I had Squirtle up front initially, but I needed that extra security against Rhydon at the end. Pidgeot also couldn't get hit by anything Dugtrio had, so the bird got the mole. Persian is just fast, crits every time, and hurts. Pidgeot took it to yellow before fainting at least, Pikachu fainted before doing anything, and Charizard took a hefty amount of damage before killing the cat. It even got a swing on Nidoqueen before fainting. And here's where Bulbasaur got to shine. I honestly can't quite figure out why exactly, but I'm pretty sure Bulbasaur's poison typing caused both Nidoking and Nidoqueen to only use Tail Whip and Leer. I got incredibly lucky. I understand why it wouldn't use Thunder, but Thrash seemed like fair game. I really want to know if I got incredibly lucky, or if I really did manipulate the Gen 1 AI. Bulbasaur did lose all of its defense though, so I did swap to Squirtle at the last minute before Nidoking fainted, so I was fresh going into Rhydon. And Nidoking was paralyzed, so no damage. And then Squirtle drowned the rock monster. It went for Horn Drill, I was faster, so that was a no-go. I seriously did not expect Blaine and Giovanni to be such big obstacles in this run. I beat Gary first try before the EliteFour. Type advantages. Also Gen 1 AI manipulation. Execute only tried to poison Bulbasaur, and that's impossible. Literally just using super effective moves got me the win. This had me feeling good before the EliteFour. But boy, oh boy was I underleveled for Lorelei. You were probably wondering how a ragtag volunteer army in need of a shower could somehow defeat a global superpower. I thought I could make the impossible happen. Nah, it wasn't gonna happen. I tried about 10 times, then decided for my sanity's sake to just go ahead and grind. I got close several times doing decently against Lorelei, but her team is just too capable, and having 4 Pokemon weak to ice made it way too difficult to do well up front. Jinx was probably the most problematic. Multiple times I would make it to Jinx and just get ice punched to death. I had to hit level 45 with the entire team to really stand a chance. Pikachu took a takedown and started the battle in below half health. I didn't feel optimistic, but Dugong slept while I shocked it. Cloyster was always annoying, but I paralyzed it, and 2 turns passed where it was paralyzed and missed its attack. This was nice. Slowbro only used Amnesia, literally just delaying its death. Jinx was the one that swooped in to take down thunder-hurling Pikachu. Charizard couldn't take it down in one hit, but did just enough damage to cause her to use a super potion, and Charizard totally took down Lapras. That's a lie. Fire Blast did a little damage, but Hydro Pump hit too hard. I was really hoping Bulbasaur could do some magic, but that didn't happen either. Pidgeot got 1 sand attack in at least, and it made a difference. Butterfree was weak to ice, but I used Supersonic, then put Lapras to sleep, only for it to wake right back up. And it didn't hurt itself in confusion, but it kept missing Blizzard. That sand attack did just enough. I kept using Psychic, hoping for it to stay asleep or lose some special. Lorelei used some potions, I got 1 special drop and took the Leviathan down. Now the EliteFour was much easier. Lorelei is definitely the queen of this castle. Bruno did about as well as you would expect him to. Both Onix were no match for Squirtle and Bulbasaur. Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee were psychicked down by Butterfree, and Bulbasaur was a monster that almost took down Machamp. It paralyzed it with Body Slam and kept using Razor Leaf for the critical hit chance. But with just a little health left, it stopped Bulbasaur, only for Squirtle to come in and finish it off. And thank goodness Agatha was easy. No one even died during this battle. Charizard's Dig, Butterfree's Psychic, and surprisingly Pikachu and Squirtle were big hitters in the battle. Lots of confusion, sure, a few hypnosises thrown in here and there, but overall nothing really to take note of. I liked this. I said the EliteFour was much easier after Lorelei. That's true, but Lance put up a good fight. Gyarados hit way harder than I expected, which was dumb, but I thought Pikachu would destroy it. Luckily it used Dragon Rage instead of a stronger move, and I got the 2-turn knockout. The first Dragonair had Thunderbolt, and that was bad for more than half of my team, and the second one had Ice Beam, so I struggled past both of these Dragon Snakes. Pidgeotto and Charizard went down against them with Butterfree finishing them off. I was hoping I could pull some magic with Butterfree against Aerodactyl, but a critical fly got me. And then poor little Pikachu took a Hyper Beam. I only had Squirtle left. Aerodactyl used Swift, I used Surf, and then took a Wing Attack, leaving me with only 25 HP before taking it down. I just had to beat Dragonite, and that probably wasn't gonna happen. But it missed Thunder. Hallelujah. I got an Ice Beam on it, and I froze it. Hallelujah. Holy cow, that was the luckiest win I've probably ever had. Not nearly as intense as Lorelei's battle, but man, that was straight up luck. Not even gonna try to pretend. The final battle was one that took a few attempts, but that was mainly because of Alakazam and Magneton. Gen 1 Psychic is overpowered, so that makes sense, but Magneton kept paralyzing me. I did that to almost everything in-game, so karma, I guess. It was still annoying. Sandslash would only use Poison Sting on Bulbasaur, and that left a dent, but that was the least damaging scenario in the battle. Alakazam used Kinesis twice, allowing Bulbasaur to Body Slam half of its health away. Pidgeot barely survived a Psychic, but flew right through it. I felt confident. I kept flying against Exeggutor, didn't do nearly as much damage as I wanted to, but it missed Hypnosis when I was vulnerable. I took it to red health before fainting. Charizard burned down the tree with an unnecessary critical hit. Nice. Tunnel time on Magneton. Half health, Then I got paralyzed. Thunderbolt got Charizard with a critical hit. Pikachu returned the favor and paralyzed Magneton, took a Swift, and started wagging its tail to lower defense. Pikachu just needed to set it up for someone else, but slammed it all the way down by itself. Good job, Pikachu. Cloyster scared me. Pikachu paralyzed it and got really lucky against Cloyster. Untouched from the shell and paralyzed the last Pokemon, Flareon. Pikachu whittled away, but Flamethrower took it down. I had 2 Pokemon at least. That was nice. Butterfree confused it, lowered its special, and swapped to Squirtle. Squirtle did take a quick attack, but cowabunga'd right through Flareon, giving us the win. Wow. Ash. He's not great. I really thought having 3 fully evolved Pokemon would make a much bigger difference than it did, but I guess everything here checks out. I was definitely underleveled, and this run was just pretty fun. This team is very pleasing nostalgia-wise. I love manipulating the Gen 1 AI whenever I can, and I'm really excited to do this challenge in other generations. For once, other than the Orange League and Alola I guess, Ash was the champion. But that's just because he had Coach Max leading him to victory. That's all. Let's not give Ash too much credit here. Y'all, thank you so much for checking out the channel today. I appreciate it way more than I could ever put into words. Please subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter for updates on videos and just some random stuff. God bless, and until next time, see you later!